wish Mother was here.
This is the Candyland Hour for all good children. The orchestra will play our theme song.
You know that song, don't you?
Sure I do.
Well, then sing it.
Hello, welcome to Pursuit Table Talk. This is Pastor Mike Hofer, and today I am joined by Evan Amon, Noah Barfield, and Kristen Hofer. This is episode 12, part 2, and in this episode, we will talk about our hot topic, social media, and how it negatively and positively affects people in today's culture. We will talk about how our students can better use social media to positively affect change in their culture. We decided to split up episode 2 into 2 parts because we had a lot of information to cover, and this was the best way to do it without having you have to listen to a 2-hour episode. So hope you enjoy today. Sit back, relax, and listen, and go on a journey with us. Welcome to Pursuit Table Talk. All right, well, we're going to get on our hot topic for a few minutes here. We want to talk about social media.
Dun, dun.
The kingdom of Kanye. That's what we want to talk about. The kingdom of Kanye, and kind of the positives and the negatives. Our church actually just yesterday, today is Tuesday, May 1st. So yesterday, April 30th, our church, Christ Community Church, Columbus, Georgia, 31909, www.ccclive.org. You follow us on all of that. Follow us on social media at Christ Community Church, GA.
Area code 706.
I don't know the phone number. I'm not going to lie. You can find it on the website. But we just yesterday, April 30th, 2018, we had an event here at our church where they showed a documentary called Screenagers. Mm-hmm. And it was basically this idea that there is some negativity in the addiction to the screen. Mm-hmm. I didn't watch it. I wasn't there. I had other things I had to be at last night. But I heard it was pretty good and that it's worth the watch. That it doesn't just villainize all screen, but it does talk about the detriment, the negatives of it. So if you want to check it out, just Google Screenagers, kind of like teenagers, but it's Screenagers, and you can find out all the information. You can check it out. It's not showing anywhere like public, like it's not on Netflix or anything yet. I think it might be at some point. Right now you have to pay per view, so anytime you buy it or anytime you watch it, you have to pay to watch it. That's what pay-per-view means, if you were wondering. I know it's legendary. It's on the edge, pay-per-view. And so today I just want to talk a little bit about this idea of social media and screens and some of the positives and the negatives and what we can do to kind of face those things. Why is it good to shut your phone off? Why is it good to get off of social media every now and then? How can we handle that? I am personally not a basher of social media. Like, I'm not a basher of screen time. I'm not a basher of social media. I'm not one of those guys that are out to tell the next generation that they suck and my generation was the best and our generation is so much better than yours, and get these crazy millennials off my lawn and get these crazy Gen Zers or Gen Ys or whatever they want to call the next ones off my lawn. The Gen AA's or whatever you guys are going to be called, Evan.
AARP.
Z?
Yeah.
Generation Z? What do we do next, though?
A.
I'm like in between.
Do we go back to Gen
I'm both
A?
the
Like,
Generation X, I think, and millennials.
no, you're millennials.
No, like
Or
they
Z.
say I'm on the line, or Z.
Yeah,
Excuse
you're
me.
millennial or Z, one or the other. You're not
It
X.
says I'm on the
Generation
line.
X.
Excuse
Yeah.
me.
My old people are Generation X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's funny because you're on social media just about more than half
for
the kids
sure.
in the youth
And
group.
he always has been.
Like, I love social media.
Yeah.
I was an early adopter of
He's
social
been on
media.
it since it started.
Like, I've been on
a
social
OG.
media before it was even like a thing.
But you have to remember, we've been doing youth
Like, I think I
ministry
was-
that
Yeah,
long.
true.
I think I was
Yeah.
Tom's first friend on MySpace.
I think
Like,
so.
That's how it worked out. I've been a super early adopter. So I don't think it's, obviously, I don't think it's all bad. I think there's a lot to it. I think you can have community on social media.
Yeah.
Like I believe in that. I think there's a time and a place for it. I think if that's where you get your only community from, you're in trouble.
Mm-hmm.
But on the flip side of that, I think if we only expect people to have community face to face in today's world, we're missing something.
Yeah.
Like as a church big C, like the whole church in the world, if we only expect people to show up to the church or to show up to community group, I think we're going to miss a ton of people out there that get their community through a screen.
Because of different reasons.
Yeah.
Health reasons. Things
Just for
like
any
that.
reason. Like I just think it's 2018 and things are progressing. Whether we want to say that they're healthy or not, it's just the way it's going, and it's not going to get better. Like it's not going to go away. Like it's all of a sudden we're not going to go, you know what? We should unplug the internet and start sitting down at a table and having lunch again. Like that's not going away.
Yeah.
And whether we say it's healthy or not, it's not going anywhere. And so we have to find a way to do both and. It's not an either or option at this point. I do think if your only way of getting community is through a screen, that's a problem. Like if all you ever do is talk to somebody through Facebook or Instagram or any kind of social media, whatever you want, Snapchat, MySpace, Flickr,
Kick.
Reddit, Kick,
When that was the thing.
whatever else you got out there, Tumblr. What was the one where
Google Plus.
for a minute Google Plus that lasted 37 seconds. What was the one where they came out with one where you could supposedly you would get money back if you like joined it, and depending on how many likes you got and pictures you put out that were original, you could get money back. But anyway, I was a part of that one for like 32 seconds also. But no matter what you're on, if that's the only way you get social interaction, that's a problem. Because of the way we're created for interaction with people. But I do believe that this generation and the generations coming behind Generation Z, whatever we want to call them, generation we ran out of alphabets. I think we only did the millennials so we could get one more generation out of the alphabet. Like we called them the millennials and then Generation Z. But the next generation is even going to use it worse than Generation Z. It's kind of like handwriting. Like people get all up in arms because we don't teach cursive anymore. Why? I mean, seriously, if you sit down and think about it in the logical conclusion, 2 generations from now, they're not going to be writing cursive.
They're not going to be writing period.
Period.
It's going to be typed.
And you can say whatever you want about that. It's just the way it is. That is the natural evolution of things.
I think it's pretty cool. I can write in cursive and kids can't read it. That's pretty
Yeah,
sweet.
it's going to be
Secret
our
message.
code.
That's like a
It's going to be our
foreign
secret
language.
message code
Seriously.
in like 10 years.
I can do it, but it's like Egyptian decoding. Like,
Yeah,
I
I got
know.
to look at it a long time.
I can not only
and
write
you
in
guys aren't
cursive.
you guys aren't that young. Like you guys aren't
Yeah.
10.
I
I mean, you're a
yeah.
junior in high school, Evan, and Noah, you're out of high school, and you guys don't even write much cursive.
Nope.
Like, so
Only my
imagine what
sister.
it's
I
going
do.
to be.
Everything,
Can,
obviously,
but it'll take me a
like,
while.
a lot of stuff I write is
Imagine
in
what it's going to
cursive.
be for those kids that are in kindergarten right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with social media and creating a community through a virtual space.
That's weird.
I just think that that's just the way it's going to be one day. It's just going to be that.
No.
Now we are going to have.
Facebook's starting to fall off a little bit.
Yeah, but they'll be the next thing. They'll be the next thing.
Yeah.
There always
There
is
will
the
be a
next
new
thing.
Facebook.
But
There'll
I
be a new
know,
starting to
Facebook.
evolve.
I do know a lot
It's
of
starting to be
people
less
that
community.
are just a slight bit younger than us, like maybe in their 20s, 30s. A lot of them are to the point where they felt so lonely. They're feeling so lonely because they're not speaking to people unless it's through social media. And so I actually have a lot of friends that I work with that have deleted those social medias, and now they're forced to call one another.
Yeah.
And because they're calling one another, now they're going over to one another's homes more often. And I mean, we just actually had that conversation today that they're actually seeing one another face to face and having more of those relationships instead of, oh yeah, we talked on Facebook. Oh yeah, I talked to you yesterday, and you know, but yet not seeing each other for months. So
I mean, I've seen several studies online as well, just the ties of social media to depression. Like 20 years ago, whenever social media was less prominent, depression wasn't as rampant as it is in teenagers today. It's just seen us as as humans, when we're on social media, we just involuntarily just compare ourselves and look down on ourselves just because we see everything else everyone else is doing. We aren't getting the communication, like venting our real feelings to real people. It's just sending it out there, and no one's like
No one's
really
responding.
responding or seeing it or anything. There's so many things I've seen just linking the two together, and it's just something we have to address first as a society before we just start completely embracing social media as like our only form of communication. We
Yeah.
need to address these mental health
yeah,
issues.
but I don't think we need to bash it either.
Yeah,
I think it's,
I
it's
agree.
I don't
got
think it
its
will ever be our
purposes, but-
only form
Yeah.
of communication.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree.
I'm just saying it's going to become more of a
More-
prevalent form of communication. And we will find ways, this is what I'm saying, we will find ways to make it more of a community.
Yeah, I agree. But
And I will still say, and I'll always say this, I don't think it should ever be your only form of communication. I will say that. But I do think that it's going to continue to get more prevalent before it goes away. Like, there's not going to be a go away at this point. Because the world is small and because the internet is a thing, there's always going to be virtual connection now. Because we're just not going to go away from
I
that.
appreciate that.
Unless there's a nuclear fallout and we lose the grid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
unless that happens and we have to start all over, I don't think it's going to go backwards. That's just not the way
Yeah.
things work.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Except for Reagan's presidency.
I
whenever-
remember, here's the thing. I'll tell you this. Yeah, except for the president we have right now. It's definitely gone backwards. You can send the hate mail to mike@ccclive.org. Okay. Here's the thing. I'll give you these examples. When the radio came out, people said the same thing they say about social media right now. Depression went up, suicide went up. We stopped communicating like as much because the radio gave us all of our information. When the TV came out, they all said the same thing. They said they used to literally call the TV the idiot box because all we did was watch television. We're getting dumber.
Yeah.
They said the same thing about the computer, and now they're saying the same thing about social media.
Yeah.
So you see what I'm
It's a
saying?
cycle.
Like,
But
it's
if
one of those
you-
things where they continue to say the same things, but it's just the way it is. Like, I don't think we need to accept the negative. I think
Yeah.
we have to address the negative. But in the same breath, I think we have to learn how to use it to our advantage.
But if you just even look at the numbers of just people who are depressed and struggling with mental health issues, I agree that it wasn't understood
I don't
as
totally
the past.
buy that. I don't totally buy that because it's been said that it's been said that all throughout history. It's kind of like here's what I'll give you this example. It's kind of like people have said that Jesus was coming back ever since he left.
Yeah.
And Paul even had to address it one time.
Yeah.
He said, "Look, guys, that's not where our focus is supposed to be on. Like, no one knows." And Jesus himself even talked about it. No one knows when I'm coming back. Only the Father knows. I don't even know. And so it's kind of that way with social media. I think sometimes because we have more information,
Yeah.
because we diagnose everything today as a mental health issue. Like if I have a fear of blue, it's a mental health issue. We want everyone to be on drugs, prescription drugs.
and that's
So everyone
dangerous.
has a mental health issue. I think because of those things, I'm not saying that there's negatives. There's certainly negatives. But I'm not raising the alarm either. Like
Yeah.
I'm
No, I
not ready
agree.
to say because social
totally
media
agree.
we're more depressed. I'm not ready to say that because I think it was the same thing with the television. I think it was the same thing with radio. I think it was the same thing when the computer came out. We said, oh, because of this, we're more depressed. Unless there's just been a steady uptick now that everyone's depressed. I just think there's more that plays into it than just social media.
Yeah, no, I agree. There's more to it, but
Now, there is an ugly side to this. There's an ugly side to everything. There's an ugly side to this. I think it's too easy to be negative on social
yes.
media.
It's too easy to have a comment, to speak freely when you should hold your tongue.
I don't
Bullying
think
has increased.
I don't think I don't know about that. Man,
It's
I
easy
think
to just
calling
rant on people.
bullying has increased. We
Yeah.
bullied each other all the time
yeah,
when I was a
yeah,
kid.
yeah,
yeah.
All the time.
To the
Like it
to
was
your
a,
face.
it was
It
a
was a
24-hour a day, 7-day a week bullying.
But that's the
But
thing,
now
though.
there's stuff
And now-
spreads around so
now
much quicker.
everybody's a bully.
and it's
But
there's
y'all said
Well,
it
here's
to,
pictures
the,
of
to
you
your
know
face.
how-
you know how
It
to
was
stop doing
different.
that. You know how to stop doing that.
Mm.
Stop posting naked pictures of yourself.
Yeah, that's
Period.
that's
Like
a
to
bad
me,
thing.
if you put a naked picture on, and somebody spreads it,
That's your own fault.
what you could have done was not put a naked picture of yourself.
Mm.
I think
That's
Mm,
I think people don't have a filter anymore.
yeah.
I think
I don't
that
think
is
people
think
have
the
ever had a
filter-
filter. They just have a
It's just been
platform
amplified
now.
because you get to see
Yes.
everybody not have a
That's
filter.
right. You get to see
It's
it now.
so
Like I
Everything
think,
is amplified
awful.
by.
I
I
just
think we've all always had these issues,
They're just
Mm.
but
amplified
now we have a platform.
yeah.
and everybody
Does that
gets to
make
see
sense?
it.
Like I
Yeah,
think
I don't know if I totally agree.
If my dad had social media
Oh Lord,
when he was a kid,
let's not go there.
you want to talk about some Kanye tweets. Like I think we've all had these issues.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
now we have a platform
Yeah.
and it makes it look like it's amplified to a bigger issue than what it is.
I think I don't know. Maybe it's just because I knew we were going to be talking about this today. I've seen it a little bit more with the disrespect. No, let me hear me out. Hear me out.
He's a firm
not
believer in
saying-
social media.
No, I'm not saying that social media is causing that, but I have just noticed that kids have their noses in their phones so much on social media while you're out doing something. You're walking in the parking lot, you're standing in line at Walmart, you're doing all these things, and you have no idea about the people around you.
Let's not
Because-
say kids, because I think
Okay,
that is
adults.
I think there's a problem across the board.
Okay.
Like I think
Just
there's
everybody.
people
I
that
just see it more. I just see it more
Yeah.
with the younger generation, and
Yeah, I mean,
I just have. So everyone. I just feel like we're not aware of what's going on around us because we're so focused on what's going on my phone right now.
I will say this. I do think there is a screen addiction.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it's a social media thing. It's just social media is easy to do.
It's easy to say.
I do think there's a screen addiction in our country we have to deal with. Across the board, television, computer, phone. There's a screen addiction. Like
You don't think there's a social media addiction in the country?
I just
at
think
all?
I think
it's
it's
part
all
of it. Like I think
bundled
it's
together.
part.
All
It's
together.
part
Yeah.
of the screen.
Okay.
And I do think there's, like I said earlier, there's an ugly part of this. I think we've lost the ability to lament because we have an immediate platform to say something. Like when I was a kid, if something happened, you couldn't just immediately respond to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like you had to think about it for a while.
Yeah.
I remember sitting in, I think, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 5th grade,
Something like
5th maybe, elementary school, and the Challenger blowing up. Space Shuttle Challenger blew up.
that. 2nd grade for me.
I might have been in 4th, 5th grade. The Space Shuttle Challenger blew up. We're watching it on television.
Yeah, I remember that day.
Because every classroom showed up because there was a teacher that was on Space Shuttle Challenger.
Right.
And actually a teacher from my elementary school was in the final 5 that got selected.
My uncle.
And so it was even a
in-
bigger deal in our elementary school. We had a big party. We're like, oh, this could have been you, Mrs.
Uncle
whatever her
Brad.
name is.
Yeah.
And boom, Challenger blows up.
Yeah.
And we're watching it live on television.
It was so sad.
And we got kids crying. People are just distraught.
Teachers
Like,
didn't know what to say.
it was crazy.
Ugh.
And guess what we had to do? we had to process it, and we had to lament it, and we had to mourn it. And we didn't have a platform where we could just jump on and start to blame NASA and blame and make memes and make fun of it. And we had to literally lament what just happened.
Yeah.
And I do think we've lost that with social media. Because now we see something and we type it.
Yeah.
Or we see something, we take a picture of it. Or we see something, we video it. And I think that in and of itself, I don't buy the thing. I mean, I guess I do buy it, but they say you become desensitized to things. I think that began to happen when we introduced the radio and the television, because we're hearing things in our home 24 hours a day that we had never heard before. I don't think that's social media's problem. I think that's just a media problem. But I do think we've lost this ability to actually process and omit things. And that in and of itself has caused some of the division in our country. Because now we're kind of forced to take a side. Instead of sitting down and reflecting and meditating and lamenting on something, we immediately want to take a side. And because we have a platform where we can immediately take a side, we take a side immediately. Without even thinking through, is this the right side? Or should I be taking a side? Now, I do think we've lost that through social media. That's the dark side. I'm not ready to blame it and say it's causing depression and it's causing bad relationships. I think those things were happening regardless. I just think we just didn't have the ability to be able to talk about those things. Because like I said, they said the same thing with all this other media that used to come out. But I do think there is a dark side to the social media. But I think there's a dark side to everything. There's a dark and a light to everything. I mean, summer's awesome, but it's also super hot. I mean, there's a dark side to everything. You know, going to the beach is awesome, but you get sand in cracks, and that stinks. Like everything has a dark side. You know what I'm saying?
Well, can I say something on this?
Yeah.
Really
No,
quickly.
we're done.
No, we're done.
Go ahead, no.
All right. I'll try to do this quick.
You should, because we already had. No, I'm just kidding.
With social media,
I got the mute button.
I would lean more towards the camp that it is more negative than positive. You like Goku. Oh my gosh. Would I go to say that social media is the cause of all the problems in the world? No.
No, yeah.
Do I think that it is more beneficial to spend less time on social media? Yes. Do I think that, like Evan said, that I don't necessarily think that social media is the cause of depression, but I do think that it definitely helps fester depression. And I've seen that in my own life, and I've seen that in my friends' lives, and I've seen that in the students' lives. And there's a couple of reasons for that, I think. And there's just a couple of reasons why I don't think that social media is super beneficial. Now, I'll get to the positives of social media in a second. One is I see, and this is going to be a call out to some students. I'm not going to call out names, but there's a feature on Instagram where you can see what people like. And I'm going to be honest, some of the things y'all like on social media, some of the people y'all follow, it's just garbage. It's straight up garbage. Those meme pages, some of those are horrendous. I look at those and I'm appalled. Now, I'm not saying this out of judgment, but I'm saying this out of that is filling your life with things that are not glorifying to God and things that are not focusing your mind on what is right.
Can I say something real quick, though?
Sure.
And I agree with you 100%. I don't think that's a social media problem. Mm-hmm. I think that is a sin problem.
Yeah.
That is
but
something.
I think that social media helps it.
That is a character problem.
Yeah.
But if there wasn't social media, they'd be finding it somewhere else.
That's true.
It's just because of social media, it is a platform that we see. Like you said, we get to see what they like.
Yeah.
Because of that, we get to see. Social media is the symptom. Mm-hmm. It's not the problem.
Yeah, I agree with that.
The problem is that person already had something in their character, mm-hmm. their being, that is there regardless if social media existed or not.
They would find it somewhere
So
else.
to me, social media is not the blame.
Mm-hmm.
That's just what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Social media is just a tool that you use based on your own character.
Yeah.
I do
But
believe it helps fester and build up things. Like if
If
you're
it wasn't there, those
around-
things would still be there.
If you're around, like looking at goth pages 24/7 on Instagram,
But
it's
who
gonna
chose to look
affect
at
your
those
mind.
golf pages? You're still speaking to
Yeah.
symptoms
You're
and
st-
not the
Yeah.
cause.
He's
Yeah,
just
I
saying
agree.
that
I
you're
agree, but-
making the choice to use that as
Yeah.
you know, that instrument.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think we can
It
blame
doesn't
social
make
media
you
for
do
that.
that. Social media doesn't make
No,
you do
I
that.
agree.
You
I think it
choose
is
I
an,
don't
it is an
believe it
inherent,
is a terrible
bent
thing
toward
at
those
all. I believe
things.
it's very positive.
but I
in
think
the
that's what I'm trying to say.
communication
And I totally agree with y'all on the dark side. I think that these things are things that we have to address, and you have to call those things out, and you should.
But I want to hear what his positives are.
But no, I'm gonna let him go ahead and finish. But
Okay.
I just wanted to throw that in there. I think those are symptoms to a problem that exists even outside of social media. Like when we were kids, it wasn't. We didn't have social media, so what do? We went to our dad's drawer and got the Playboy books out.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, but no one saw us do that because there wasn't this platform to throw it out there. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
And
I
if
agree
these
with you.
girls weren't, if girls weren't comparing themselves to to Instagram models,
It'd be a magazine model.
they'd be comparing themselves to cosmopolitan models.
Right.
I agree with that.
It's not the platform's problem.
Yeah.
It is the innate sin problem in our lives.
Yeah.
But I believe it's amplifying it.
And
I don't think so.
It's making it
I
more
think it's more
available
accessible.
and more.
I think it's more accessible. Well, it's not
It's
more
more
accessible.
common. It's more
But
common than it
I don't
was
think
in
it's
the
more
past.
common either.
I
Well,
think it's
because
more
it exists. It
accessible.
didn't
Yeah.
exist in the past.
Yeah, and it's amplifying those things, making them
I don't think
more
so.
common.
I
I think it's just
think they're-
another avenue. Because before this, guess what? You could walk through the Walmart magazine aisle and see the exact same things you see on Instagram.
Yeah.
But you would have to
But
go to the
you'd have
Walmart to see it. You couldn't
You-
wake
you
up
can't
every
sit
single
there.
day and
You're
see
right.
it immediately.
And if you wanted to choose that, that's what you would
Yeah.
do.
But
Absolutely.
I
as-
don't
as
have
sinful-
to choose. I don't have to choose
Yeah.
to see those things on Instagram.
But
Guess
us
what?
as
I don't have to
sinful
follow those
human
pages.
beings with our fleshly desires.
You're right.
It's more amplifying those
I
things.
think
No,
it-
it's
in our
not.
soul. It's
Because
making
if
it
I had
quicker.
the
It's
sinful
making
nature,
it quicker and easier to access
nope.
those things.
Because if I wanted to go to Walmart, I could see the exact same thing.
yeah, but
if
it
I
would be a
chose-
lot more difficult.
How? Explain to me how that's more
you couldn't
difficult.
drive.
That Walmart.
Okay.
So what?
So it's a town with 80 cocaine dealers is going to have a lot more people stuck on cocaine than someone who has to drive 2 hours away to get their cocaine.
Not if they
It's-
really
if they're
want it.
surrounded, yes,
Nope.
there are people that are going to get it if they really want it.
That's
But
right.
if they're surrounded more
Nope,
by the
'cause it's still a
opportunity
choice.
to go get cocaine,
That's what he's
It's
saying.
still a choice.
though. That's what
I'm not
he's
gonna get
saying.
to
They're
finish.
they're
You're not, because we're already an hour and 15 minutes.
oh
they're-
wow.
What I'm
Okay, never
saying,
mind.
what I'm saying is, there could be 100 cocaine dealers in this room.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't want cocaine, just guess what I don't
Yeah,
do?
you don't
I don't
drink
smoke
cocaine.
cocaine.
There are going to be some
I don't
people that
snort
are
cocaine.
There are going to be some people that
You
are going to
guys are
say no.
saying the
but if they're
same
more
thing.
around those things,
Nope,
they're more
that
influenced
is not
in
true.
their
That
head.
is flawed logic.
Huh.
That's flawed logic.
Can't
Because
disagree.
you have will,
Yes.
because you have choice.
Yes.
That is flawed logic.
But when things keep going in your head,
But who
if
puts
you're-
those things in your head? Hold
Sit.
on. Who pushes the like button to follow certain pages on Instagram?
I'm not saying
No,
there's the
answer the
explore
question.
page as well.
Who
yes, no,
pushes,
I agree.
Who pushes the like button to follow things on Instagram?
So you don't believe the people
Who
around
adds
us
the people-
influence who
But
we
they
are.
can influence you to do anything.
But you,
If that is already inside of you,
Mhm.
they can influence you to do it regardless if social media existed or not.
So if I live in Saudi Arabia and I'm around and raised by people who are Saudi Arabian, believe in the Saudi Arabian culture,
Yes.
you still have, like, there's still the same chance that that person would choose to follow a different culture than if they would want to follow the Saudi Arabian culture since they're raised in it.
That didn't make no sense.
Like, okay, so if someone
I didn't get that
is
at all.
raised in
Did you get that?
the Islamic
that.
culture and they raised in the Islamic culture their whole life. They're there their whole life around those types of people.
Yeah.
They're just as likely to choose Christianity versus
That
Islam.
doesn't translate.
What you're trying
That's
to
not
say,
the same.
whenever
That's
they're
not the
raised
same.
and they're around
I
things more
think
common.
But it's
I
not
got-
the same,
no,
though.
I think I
Hold
got
on.
what he's trying to say. Are you trying to say, I don't want to put words in my mouth, so are you trying to say that someone who is more exposed to something is more likely to do it?
Yes.
I would
Yeah,
agree
but
with
that doesn't have anything to do with social media.
We're more exposed
That
and
has
more
nothing
quickly
to do with
exposed
social
to
media.
things around us like that.
If you choose to be on social media,
Yeah,
if you
I
choose
agree.
to like those pages, if you
Yes, but it
choose to
makes-
allow those people to follow you,
You're more exposed
if
to
you
those
choose to
opportunities.
do it.
Yes, yes.
Yeah,
This is where
it's
I
like
was
saying
going.
it's like
They
saying
were
if
just
I
giving
wanted to
me a
walk
chance.
around
I know.
Walmart, I am more exposed to those magazines.
Yes.
You guys are, I've already said this. You're saying the same thing, and you're
No, we're
arguing.
not
We're
saying
not
the
saying the
same
same thing.
Because I believe that the problem is not social media.
No, I don't
It's the
believe
sin
problem.
It's
I
choice.
believe it is sin.
It's a choice.
Ultimately,
I do
yes,
believe-
it is
And
a sin
social
problem.
media
believe-
is a 100%. Listen to me. Social media is free.
It's a choice.
Social media is not pushed on you by anybody.
Yeah. By
Social media
our
is.
sinful
I could even
natures.
say that I can make an argument
Hmm.
that social media is safer than other things
You could say that, yeah.
Yeah.
because you have to choose to like and follow
Mm-hmm.
and allow people to see your stuff.
Yeah.
So
But-
you have to make multiple choices before you even see that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. But because it is that choice, we have to educate people on the negatives.
I
There are
totally
negatives.
100% believe that.
Yeah.
Like I totally understand we
Yeah.
got to educate on the negative, and we have to totally teach people to use it positively. I 100% get that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to blame social media
I don't believe
for the sin
it's the
problem of
fault.
people.
Yeah.
Just-
no, I
And
agree.
I'm not
with
going to
the
say,
problem.
and I'm not going to say that it's more accessible just because it's the new thing.
Yeah.
It's not more accessible. It is still 100% a choice.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a
it's
choice.
also
to
Doesn't
bring
doesn't make
down.
it more
Stove can burn
accessible.
you if you use
Because
it
I
improperly.
could take social media totally out of the picture.
Yep.
And if I choose to still enact in my sin, I can just go to a browser and see the exact same stuff.
Yeah.
Yep.
I can go to the magazine aisle in Walmart and see the exact same stuff.
Yep.
The difference is there are at least some things in social media. There are some things put in place that I literally have to set up an account. I have to go on pages. I have to like things.
Set
I have to
filters.
allow permission for people to connect to my page. I can say that is even safer
Yeah.
than other things that are out today.
If
Because
used
right now,
properly.
I could get on, I literally can get on Google and type in something and see worse things than I can see on Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
agree.
So
I
I can almost make the argument that Instagram is safer than other things that we've got out.
I agree.
That's true.
Yeah, it's
But-
just a tool in the matter of how you use it.
Mm-hmm.
But there again, you have to be educated on it.
Right,
But
no, I
my
agree
second
with
place
that,
that I was
100%.
going before that all happened was
It's a good show.
I still wouldn't say, I'm not saying that I'm in the negative of it because it's a problem, as in like it creates a sin problem. I'm saying is it's a problem because I don't believe it's what we were created to do necessarily. Now I get that you're saying like that's just the way the world is progressing and everything, but you know, with depression the way that it is today, with anxiety and whatnot, again, social media doesn't create that, but it can help aggravate that in a way because, for one, you can not talk to anybody, but again, that's a choice thing, but it gives you the option not to talk to anybody. And two, we just weren't created to be inside all day and stare at a screen. Adam and Eve were created in a garden, in nature, in this beautiful place. And when we sit inside all day, I mean, it's literally shown to be detrimental to your health to just sit around and sit inside all day. Like, there's so many things that go wrong with your health when you do that. And so I like
Do
to
you
come.
only do social media on your computer?
Did I say computer?
Screen time. Screen time.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
He's
I'm just saying screen time in
I
general.
can take my phone and go outside. I'm just being devil's advocate.
Yeah,
now,
you
but
are. You're.
I'm just saying
I don't
Why
sit in-
not
I
say
don't
that?
sit
You guys,
in
I'm
all
in
day and
nature.
do
I'm
something.
sitting on
saying
Instagram and taking
screen
pictures
time
of the
in
trees.
general. Now,
Did I not say push buttons?
hear this from a guy that uses Instagram. You know, and I have a Facebook, and I play video games, and I watch Netflix. I can't say I watch TV anymore because I can't remember the
Yeah, I
last
don't
TV
have
show I
to-
watched.
That's right. That's
But
100% true.
I have noticed a dramatic difference in my life when I do not focus on the screens as much as when I pour into things that fill my life with joy, when I go outside, when I go on an adventure with my friends, when I pour into a story or I create something, you know. And again, I'm not saying that social media is the devil. I'm just saying that it is something that needs to be handled carefully. It needs to be handled with discernment. And it is something that can be bad if used improperly, but is not the source of the bad. I agree with Mike 100% that it is a
Yeah.
sin problem. Everything that is bad in
Yeah,
the world
I
goes back
totally agree
to
with
a
that.
sinful human nature.
That's right.
Totally.
But just as my final thought, it is a thing, just like all things in the world, that can be used for bad or for good, that young people, which is why we're talking about this, need to be educated on
Yep,
and how to use it.
100%.
And it kind of goes back to a blog post I wrote this past week. If you don't check out the blog at www.pursuetoday.live.
Boom.
We write on there, and I wrote about distraction and about how Satan uses distraction as one of his greatest weapons against us.
Yep.
And in that, I put social media as a distraction. But there are a million other different things that can be used as a distraction. You know, it can even be hanging out with your friends that could be a distraction.
Yeah.
But it is being aware of what the distractions are and taking the initiative to pursue things that are not distracting you away from what God has for you.
Right.
And so I say all of this to say, when you are on social media, if you have social media, be careful, use discernment, use wisdom, and, you know, be Christ, whether you whether you use it or not. So I think that's all I got for that.
You know, Pastor Mike, I disagree with you, but that's okay, and I still love you.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what we're here
Yeah.
for.
Oh, that's
This is table talk.
100%.
That's
This
why
is-
we have
mean-
this
This is table
podcast.
talking.
I mean, I love
It got thick in here for a
Evan.
minute.
Evan is Evan and I have had this conversation many, many times. Like Evan
Yeah.
sharpens me like no other student that I've ever been around ever, and that's real talk. Like Evan keeps me on my toes. He's brilliant. He's smart. He's
He
sharp.
asks the questions.
He asks the right questions. There's no question about that. And I love Evan. Like Evan is
Appreciate you, man.
Evan is my yin to my yang. Like that's just what it is.
Do you have
And
a
I-
scripture for
I,
us?
I absolutely love it. And so I would just say this: it's okay that Evan's wrong. I love
Here
it.
we go.
All right.
All
my
right.
God.
All right.
Hey, man, I've
Mute-
agreed with you on just
mute
about
Mike.
everything, and you sit
Mute
here
Mike.
roasting me here. Hey, we're
You
going
knew
to take
that
on the
was coming.
editing
Hey,
choices
Evan,
now.
I think
Evan,
Evan
now
is
you
on
know how
team-
I felt during the Superman Goku
I think
conversation.
Evan's finally gone to Team Goku. That's what I think. So
No, man,
no,
step
into the
into
line.
the
Evan's
I
not-
can't be that wrong.
Evan's not wrong. It's just we see things differently. That's just the
matter
way
of
it is. And I
interpretation.
love this because I think more things would get solved if people sit down and do this. Like just talk about it and be sharpened by each other and be like learn things from each other. Like that is the
Yeah.
biggest thing that we miss. Like we totally miss this in today's world. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with sitting down and I'm going to say something that is going to shock everyone. And it's not the ending to Infinity Wars.
Gosh.
Got to bring it full circle. I have been wrong in my life.
Oh my goodness.
Like
It has now been documented.
The world's ending. The sky is falling.
It has now been documented on air.
It's on
probably
air.
a bigger spoiler alert than Infinity War.
Yeah, it's
think
bigger
your-
than Annie's
I think
spoiler
your
for Infinity
kids
War.
just like gasped all the oxygen out of this room.
All the people
So it's-
sitting on the toilet
It's
listening to this.
okay. It's okay to discuss things and
Yeah.
and have a disagreement about things.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Talk to each other.
No one died because Evan and I disagree on social media.
Yeah.
Like,
I know, right?
I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And I'm 42, and Evan is 17. So if we
17?
literally had the same opinion on everything,
Be a little weird.
it'd be super weird.
But it's kind of backwards. This is weird.
It is super weird. You're definitely not a normal 17-year-old. I love that about you. So, yeah, I got a scripture for us. It's basically, I just
Thou
want to
shalt not
highlight.
use social media.
That's right.
Second parentheses.
The 11th commandment.
Second parentheses.
Yeah.
It's found in the book of Hezekiah.
Ooh.
No, Mark 12. And I just want to highlight this because I love this because I knew this was going to happen today. I knew we were going to be really heated with the social media thing because I'm super opinionated about
Just
it.
slightly warm.
Shocker.
Yeah.
But, this is what I
toasty.
love. This is what I love about being a Jesus guy. This is the answer to everything. Like, you ask people all the time, like, what's the answer? And people say Jesus, right? Like, but literally that's the answer.
Yeah.
You can say that. We make fun of it all the time. Like, oh, it's a Sunday school answer. And people ask me all the time, like, what are you preaching about? And I'm like, I'm preaching about Jesus. And that's the answer.
Yeah.
And so this is what I love about being a Jesus person. No matter what my opinion is, no matter what, and that's what it is. It's an opinion. It's not a fact. We can all fall on this. Like Mark 12, verse 29 says, Jesus answered, the most important is, hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. And you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul and with all your mind and with all your strength. The second greatest commandment is this: you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other greater commandment than these. And even in disagreement, we love our neighbors ourselves. Even in, and you can use that in the world of social media. And I think it's easy for us, like we just talked about, to not lament things and voice your opinion too quickly and think you have a voice on things that you have really literally no background for, no training of. But if we would just remember those two things, to love God and to love people, I think it solves a whole lot of problems. I think it solves a lot of things. And so I have that scripture today. That's it. Just love God and love people.
Amen.
I don't know that we're going to do a final thought.
It's a really quick question if you let me say it.
Oh,
You
wait,
just
but
got to
that-
answer one thing.
It's going to be 30 more
No,
minutes
just-
of us arguing
No,
about
it
your
won't be.
question.
Just answer one word. You don't even have to
Yeah.
defend it. It's a very simple question.
0.
Let him ask the question.
Pork, beef, or chicken?
Oh gosh.
You have to choose one.
Chicken for sure.
Kristen?
Yeah, all day.
Chicken.
Chicken is the most versatile.
Oh my
Always.
gosh, we all say chicken.
Yeah.
I was gonna say what just
We all
happened?
just
We're
agreed.
unanimous.
Wait.
Kind
no.
of like the ending of Infinity Wars.
It was
They,
unanimous.
all,
on
they
that.
all agreed and they all lived happily ever after.
Yeah.
Please stop.
They all sat down and talked about. They all sat down and they talked about their problems.
Rainbows and puppies
And on that note,
and Skittles. And I'll just this is my final thought. If you drink too much water, it'll kill you. Thank you for joining us, Pursuit Table Talk. This is Pastor Mike, along with
Evan Amon.
no Barfield.
Kristen Hofer.
and we out.
I wish Mother was here.
This is the Candyland Hour for all good children. The orchestra will play our theme song.
You know that song, don't you?
Sure I do.
Well, then sing it.
Hop, hop, blow, hop, hop, blow, hop,